Hi everyone, it's Jean from Jean's Gems. This is take 3. I'm coming to you today to share with you the design project that I'm doing for Kim Newberg. I had requested that she make me some images with poppies, some children images, and these are just really, really beautiful. They turned out really nice. There are other sheets with different images. There are some with where they're dressed in little like blue jean outfits, and some of them have the poppy hat. They're all really cute. And if you go on Kim's Coffee site, you can get some of these free, and then you can also get some of her other images free. If you're looking for the more detailed poppy ones, some of these, like these larger journaling cards, they're actually on the membership site, and you can, the membership side of her site, and you can purchase these or purchase a membership, and you will get access to the images then. So I will leave that link below. And what I'm going to be doing overall is a journal. Now I know a lot of us are familiar with making pockets and making pages and making tuck spots and making clusters and dangles. So this series will be made up of all of that, but staying within, not, it will be a poppy theme, but it will be more of with the colors as well, not just poppy images. So the images that I have here, I will use some of them. I also have already started to cut out a few and use them for some tags. So I'll show you how I'm doing that. And also I have incorporated a few other images that I've found on the website that will I actually got them through Pixabay. So if you've ever used Pixabay for, I think it's a small membership, but you get access to a lot of different images too, if you'd like to use that. But I'm going to be doing a series. So basically this is episode 1. And with episode 1, I will tell you how I started and what we'll be doing going forward. So looking at the colors that we see in a lot of these images, there's different reds. Poppies are mainly red with the black centers, but you can get some poppies that have even a little bit of orange in them, or even a little bit of a faded red. So you get different colors. So the papers that I'm going to be creating later when I show you, they will be more of muted style. So I will be using some tea dyed. I will be using some papers that I dye myself with my Dylusions ink spray, and I will also be using book pages. So that will be the base of our journal signatures. Now, to get those colors, I'm going to have to do a little bit of experimenting. So the first thing that came to mind for me is I want to keep the elements of the journal a brighter color. So for example, if I use flowers or if I use clusters, I want that to be, those to be more vibrant in color, so that it doesn't fight with the background papers that I will be putting in the signature. So as soon as I get the dyeing done and the right colors, then we can put our signatures together. But for right now, I just made a little pocket and a tag holder to show you. And I want to, let me put something on this. I don't want it to blow away. I was experimenting with a couple different ways of how to make poppy flowers. This is one that I came up with. This is just a piece of satin that I gathered and added a piece of green paper and some buttons. And this does look kind of cute, but it's a little bit tedious to make these, you know, as many as I would need throughout the book. So I'm not going to use this design, at least not currently in anything I'm making. But what I am going to use are paper towels. Now, the paper towels that we get are Viva paper towels. So they're more of a, they almost feel cloth-like. They are still paper, but they're very soft, and they're not as, and they're kind of stretchy, and they're not as porous, or maybe they're more porous. They're just not hard like a regular Bounty or Sparkle paper towel would be. They're very soft, and they are a little bit more expensive, but because of their quality, they do last longer. They're my favorite paper towel, and I guess there's only a couple vices I have, which is coffee and good paper towels. So that's what I'm going to be showing you today, what I did with these paper towels. Now, these come in little, in quarter sections, so you don't have to use a whole paper towel. That helps as well. But what I did is I cut a whole bunch of the quarters, and I went through my Dilution spray inks, and I sprayed a whole bunch of these with different colors. So you get some that are orange, some with orange and darker red hues. Here's a darker red one. Here's an even more red, almost like a deep burgundy. So, and then this one has a little bit more orange and yellow in it. And they make just really cool papers, almost like cloth, that you can use in your projects. So what I did with the paper towel is I wanted to make some flowers that would resemble poppies to put on some of my tags and some of my envelopes and different things that I might be using in my poppy journal. So let me show you the tags I made. This one I have finished, but I am going to put on her probably a small paper towel poppy there. So we'll be making that today. And on this one, I actually already made this one, and she just needs a button up here. So I'll be putting that button on to match the other one, like this. And this is the way that the poppy flower came out. Now, the more that you sew the flower in the middle, you get the poppy-like center that you see in real poppies. Now, I currently don't have any black beads, but I may go back later and bead this a little bit. I think it will really add some more dimension to the project. So here we have 2 cards, and here we have a third one, and then that one will get the same button as well, and we'll get a flower. Now, the largest flower that I've made so far is this one. And like I said, when you use the black thread with it, it really does look like a poppy center. Now you can you can gather these pieces any way you want. I'm going to show you basically what I do, but these are really too big to use on the tags because they'll just swallow up the whole page. So what I did is I made a little envelope, and this also has a half poppy on it. And this little envelope just folds up like this. And then once I get all the buttons sewn on the tags, we can just stick them right in here with a paper clip, or we can also possibly make a band or a pocket for them to go through. But I made this at the top with 2 score lines, because when we put the ones in here that have the poppies on them, it's going to need more space so it still closes nicely. So that is my idea for this cute little envelope pocket. And all this really is a background piece with some poppies on it, as you can see. And it's just folded into 3. And then I cut the flap on an angle and then put the poppy in the middle. So these are ones I got from Pixabay, and you can print them in different sizes. I printed some in a smaller size like this so that I could have some backing, like matting for my my tags. But overall, the things that I'm using are from Kim's sheets. Now, when I was spraying the paper towels, I also sprayed some offcuts of some white cardstock, just so I would have something in the brighter colors to work with. And they do really look nice on the top of the tags, I think. So I'm pleased with that. So let's go ahead, and this is she has one, I'm trying to think which one it is. There's 1 or 2 of the sheets that she has where she has a little piece of sheet music on the side that you can cut out, and it has a song about poppies. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I want to glue this on so that it doesn't get lost, and I'm just using some regular stick glue, and I'm just going to put it right on the front. I went ahead and inked it, and I tore it out. She prints it on so that it's like a torn piece of sheet music, but I tried to follow the torn images and keep it torn rather than you know, a straight cut. So we'll put that on there, and I think that looks really cute with the poppy and the bow. And so this is going to be like our little card holder or tag holder that you can put in your journal. You can either clip it in, or you can adhere it with the back. And then I'm going to show you how to make the flowers. Now, I know there are different ways to make flowers with petals. The way that I have found the best to do this, and we'll just use this top sheet. Some of these reds are really red, but they went through mostly to the other side, so that's good. If we see the flower on its opposite side, everything's going to be covered, so it's not a white paper towel on the back. So what I'm going to do is first, I think I'm going to cut it in half because it'll be a smaller piece for me to work with. My wrists are bothering me today. Arthritis is terrible to have. Yes, I'm complaining, but if I don't complain, I would cry. So you can either do this freeform, or you can do this with a pattern. Now, I have drawn myself, I'm not sure where my pattern is now. I had drawn myself some patterns pieces. Maybe they're mixed up in the images. I don't see them right at this moment. But basically they need to look like a petal. So if I use this piece as an example, what you would do is you would want a straight edge on the top and then just like a rounded edge here, like this, and that's your petal. Okay, I will go ahead and cut this out and show you how I use it as a template. I'm just going to go around the outside. I'm not sure how. I'm going to try to make this flower a little bit smaller than the ones I did before. So we'll see. Let me see what that looks like. So I usually try to cut, because this is not fabric, this is not paper. The scissors just go through it really well. I try to cut a couple layers at one time, and I hope you can see this. I'm just going to go around the edge of the template, and I may have to trim this up a little bit better because of the thickness. But we basically just want to go around the edge and cut petal shapes. Now, you can, like I said, you can make these into any size you want. This is a smaller size, and then you can make a petal that is a larger size. Now, I've never tried these with regular paper towels, but one thing I do know is if you are using a lighter paper or paper towel or something of that nature, a lot of times when you add ink or paint to it, it does stiffen it up some. So it may be okay for you to use the regular paper towels. Like I said, we buy the Viva brand, and that's the brand that these are. I don't know if there's an off brand for them or not, but these are just really not only for your cleaning, but you know, you can do crafting with them too. So we're always looking for things that we can use around our home to craft with, and this is one of them. Now you have to, if you're going to stack these, make sure you pull the petals apart, because they do tend to stick together. And I'm sorry guys, my hands are so dry and ugly right now from gluing and doing stuff. But this is a really, I have enjoyed slow stitching recently, and this is a really fun project for slow stitching if you like it. And this is not real, there's not really any science to this. It's just gathering some petals together so that you can make a flower. I guess the most tedious part is getting your middle so that it kind of looks like a poppy. So all I'm going to do with this is I'm going to gather the bottom of the petal, and I'm going to pull it, and then I'm going to gather another one. And this is where I think it makes the flower look more natural, because we are using some colors that are more variegated and not so you know, in your face red. We're using different colors to go with what we're making, and it makes them look more natural to me. there's always been a saying, you know, it's okay. Flowers aren't perfect, but to me, flowers are perfect. We as humans don't have the ability of making a perfect flower, but we can do our best to imitate that. And a lot of times if you get one of these projects going and your flower does look a little off, you know, the quirkiness of it kind of helps to with the design, I think. So, but the poppy itself has been a prominent part of history, because if you've ever read about the war in Flanders Field, they talk about how after the soldiers had died and there was so much sadly bloodshed on the battlefield, that all of a sudden the poppies started to grow there. And the reason why they did was because poppies need rich, disturbed soil. So with the war just happening and using horses, you know, the dirt was all instead of tilling it, of course, it was all out of order because of the horses. And, you know, of course, with everything that was there on the field during the war, it just was a perfect fertilization for the poppies. So that's what the poem of Flanders Field is about. The poppies growing on the battlefield. And it's kind of sad, but it's interesting to see how certain things have developed over the years, as far as what they mean to people and how people remember certain things. So with the poppy, it's a remembrance flower of the war. So a lot of times on Memorial Day, ladies would, I don't know what's causing that. Ladies would wear their poppies in remembrance of those who had passed. Now, I'm not a person who really gets into anything political or war or anything like that. The only reason that I love the poppies is, like I said, is because I've always seen the poppies since I was young, and because of the Wizard of Oz. But I was just doing some research to see if I could determine, you know, the whole idea of the poppy, and that's what I found out. Now, in other countries, I think it's Australia and maybe New Zealand, they use the poppy for Armistice Day, and that would be in September. So just interesting to read up on the history of different things and see what they mean. But before any of the war and any of the, you know, issues back then, before any of that started, we had poppies. So it doesn't have to signify anything negative. So I'm having a time with this one because there's something funny going on with my thread. So just give me a second. But I wanted to show you how with this paper towel, you can easily maneuver your petals and sew them in the middle. You could probably use glue as well. But if you use glue, I would still probably tack that in the middle after you were finished gluing it, because it helps to give the flower a little bit more dimension with the sewing for some reason, I find. I don't know if that's a piece of glue or what it is that's grabbing this, but I'm getting frustrated here because it's not coming together like I planned. Isn't that the way things go though when you're filming? Okay, so here we go. We got a couple going together now. But I wanted to emphasize too that if you do make flowers out of the paper towel, they're thin enough that they won't add a whole lot of bulk to your journal. So you can feel confident that if you use this method to make your flowers, that you're going to be able to use them comfortably in your journal without too much bulk. Now, I'm all about texture and bulk. I'd probably have the fattest journals if I could, because I love all the extra three-dimensional things and textural things that I can add, and I have to restrain myself. So once you get like your petals anchored the way you want them, you just need to go through the middle a couple times so that you can get the black center. Excuse me. I hope you all can see that. So I'm just going in and out of the back and then through to the front. I didn't mean to catch that. So that I can have that black center that's common for poppies. And there are stamens and things that you can get that you can color black if you want to, so that you could have a more realistic flower if you wanted to do that. But I'm satisfied with mine having just the black sewn center, and I think it looks good that way. So if you wanted to, perhaps at some point, depending on what you're making in your journal, maybe you want to add some glitter to the middle, or like I was doing with that other one I showed you, I was adding buttons to the middle. So you can add all kinds of different elements to get that center the way you want it. So I'm just going to tack these couple down until I run out of thread, because I'm soon not going to be able to go through anymore. And I pick a pretty long length of thread, which sometimes can get you in trouble because the thread will bunch up on you. But here we have pretty much, let me see if I can go through one more time, and then I'll show you a trick too to what you can do if you want to make the middle be more if you want it to be black, more black than what it is. So here is our smaller flower, and I'm just going to clip this off in the back. And that is the basic process of making your own flower out of the paper towel. And the great thing about using the paper towels is that you get colors that you would that you need for your project. Now, if you need the center to be a little bit more black, you can take a black marker. This just happens to be an acrylic paint marker, and you can blacken up the center a little bit more if you want to do that. Not really anything required. You just have to be careful because this is paper towel. This is not regular paper. So as you can see, it will start to bleed out a little bit, which is fine for us because we know the poppy has some black pieces that go up into the leaves. But if you do add too much of the acrylic paint, it'll bleed into the paper towel too much. So there is how you make the flower. And as I mentioned to you, you can make these pieces as large or as small as you want. And I just basically take 5 of them, whatever size they are, and make my flower with that. Now, you could argue with me and say that this doesn't really look like a poppy, but we're gonna go with it. If these were done in purple, if the paper towels were done in purple and even a yellow, we could definitely make some pansies and they would be pretty too. So now we're going to take some of this, these tags. So we have this young lady and she already has a tag on, but she needs a button. So let me get some more. And this is just regular black sewing thread. If I had thicker thread like button thread or a little bit of thicker, maybe even embroidery floss, that is definitely an option where you can use 2 strands or 3 strands of embroidery thread and then get a much more detailed center than what I have on mine. So that's up to you as far as that part's concerned. But I think the way we have it here, it looks good. So let me see. This one has the button on it. This one needs a button. Where did thy button go? Okay, over here it is. So I'm just gonna add the button here. I'm just gonna go through the back. Now these are plain on the back, but I will probably, after I get done all my sewing, because I adhered the poppy with thread 2, I will go and cover the back of these with some book paper then, or some tea-dyed paper, so that you can use them for journaling if you'd like. Now, my biggest challenge is not stabbing myself when I'm putting in a button. So let me see if I can find my paper piercer. There are a lot of things that I have gotten from my online shopping that I'm thankful that I was able to get at a reasonable price, because something like this awl, or paper piercer as I call it, is really handy when you need to do something like sewing on a button, so that you don't bleed to death all over your project. And of course, these mats that we have, they're self-healing, so even if you put a hole in it, it's gonna not show, not damage your mat. Thank goodness. Or mine would be all holy. Holier than thou. Okay, so here we go. This little miss has her button on, and she has her flower on. So she's ready to go in the envelope after we cover the back. So I'm just gonna leave her go like this for now. Move this up a tiny bit because I don't want it covering her eyes. I've been doing a lot of slow stitching lately. I think that's why my hand is bothering me. Sucks to get old, doesn't it? Okay, so there we go, little miss. That's a little bit higher, so it doesn't look like it's cutting your face off. It looks like more that you have a hat on. Another thing I wanted to mention to you all is if you do cut these out, these images out, and you leave a border on them like I have, when you ink them, when you ink the edges, the border just really blends in well, and you don't even realize that you had left a white border there. That's why I like inking my edges, because you can't even tell then that I've left a little bit of a white border. Only because I cut mine by hand. Now, if you were to cut yours by with your paper cutter, you could probably easily go just right to the edge. So that's up to you. So here I am struggling with thread again. When I could have just probably glued this on, but neither here nor there. It seems like I always take the longest and most difficult route. Okay. If I was like my friend Kim, she would have her glue gun on and this plop down in 2 seconds. Okay, so here we go. Here's our other lady. And doesn't she look so, oops, that ripped a little bit. We'll just tuck it under there. Let me get some glue and put this right here to keep those two pieces together. And there's our little sweetheart, our little, with her Poppy on her card. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to cut a couple pieces of this, but I'm going to cut them even smaller than the ones that I cut before, because I want a really small Poppy. And I have come up with an interesting way how to make the Poppy pods, and I will show you that hopefully next episode. I have gotten off track a tiny bit with some of my videos. I do apologize. I was feeling a little under the weather, but feeling a little better now. So I'm going to cut this off a little bit smaller, and I think I have 4 here and I want 5. So let me take one that I cut over here, and I'm just going to trim it down to match the other one. Now the idea of this is would be to sit here and make like 100 of these flowers, and then I would have a bunch, which I probably will do that eventually, but for right now I'm just going to show you the ones I need for my tags and my little pocket. And then later we can mass make some flowers, and maybe I can dye some paper towel with some different colors besides just red and orange, which are not really colors that I work with, but you know, because I wanted to kind of go out of my comfort zone, that's one of the reasons for making the Poppy Journal too, is because I could embrace the red and the vibrant colors. So this one I'm doing a little bit different. I am laying the petal on top of the other 3, and then just kind of whips or tacking them down together as I go. That way they're how did I still only end up with 4? Are 2 of these stuck together? Let's see. Okay. Okay, let's see. We'll just make another one here, darling. Oh. I'm just going to go around and around and around and around the mulberry bush. So that's, oh, here it is. What I was explaining to you guys earlier is the petals do sometimes stick together, so you'll have to make sure that when you're sewing this, that you take the petals apart so they don't come up as 2-ply. So last couple videos that I have done, I have mentioned to you guys that I was going to get out of the pink theme. So here we are, we're in an orange and red theme, and looks like I'm loving it so far. I hope you guys are and you like this little project. So as soon as I get this flower done, I'm going to go ahead and finish these tags, and then I'm going to put them in their little pocket, and they will be ready then for my journal. And what I'm going to, as I mentioned, what I'm going to be working on next is just getting the palette down for the base journal. I haven't even thought of what I'm going to do for the cover yet, but I have time for that. So the cover is probably the last thing I'll do, and I'm sure a lot of these flowers will show up on the cover, and maybe some other things that I come up with, but I do want to spray some green on the paper towel so that I can make the leaves, because I want them to be made out of the same material as the poppies themselves, I think. So that's where I'm at so far, and like I said, get yourself a roll of Viva paper towels. They'll last you forever. You can use watered down acrylic paint. You can use any kind of paint that you can, I'm sorry, not paint, but any kind of color that you can mix with water. You need to be able to spray it on, or I don't know that I would recommend dipping it, because even though it is a very hardy paper towel, I'm afraid it might tear. So I would just get a pasteboard box and just spray away, you know, just spray whatever you need. I have been meaning to go through my sprays and let you guys know what colors I have. I know that I have blues, and I know that I have green and yellow, and I'm pretty sure I have purple. So once I can get into my cupboard, which is just right over here, I just haven't done it yet, I will take inventory of what I have and let you all know what what I have in stock. This one little petal has ripped a little bit, so I'm going to add another one here to cover that up. I'm always so worried about working in odds, but guess evens can look good too. I didn't even count how many petals were on an actual poppy. But I'm going to leave you all and just finish these up. And then, of course, I'll put a picture of the finished product on the video so you all can see it. And then I hope this has given you some suggestions for creativity of your own, of how to make some flowers, or how to think out the process of making a themed journal. So this will be episode 1, and we will come back in a day or two once I figure it out how I'm going to dye my papers, and we'll start making the signatures. So thank you all for spending some time with me and for helping me work through my my flower project. This one definitely is going to need some black in the middle. Work out my flowers for me, and tolerate my chit chat as usual. I talk a lot. But again, hop over to Kim's channel, and also her coffee shop, and get some of these gorgeous images for yourself. I will put a list of the channels that I enjoy watching for my own inspiration. And if you ever have any questions or concerns for me, or would like me to do a specific tutorial on something, just let me know. You can email me at jeansgems@gmail.com. I would also appreciate if you would like and subscribe if you do come across my channel. There's also a couple other channels that are looking to grow as well, and some of the girls that I really enjoy watching, I know you would too. So check that list below. Thank you so much for looking at my project today and bearing with me through my sewing episodes here. And I hope you have a wonderful evening. That's all for now. Bye.